Welcome to Commander Tunes for the Nitpicking Nerds.
In this video, we're upgrading our patron Roswellien's Belbay deck with a budget of only $100.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, Beezy, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds, bringing you daily content every single day. We publish a Magic the Gathering video on our channel. Please absorb the content. Also, TCG Player, link in the description. Buy the cards you were going to buy anyway, but with an affiliate link, which means we get a kickback on the order. You're helping support the channel when you buy cards for yourself.
Yes, if you want to help us celebrate 50K, which is on the horizon, we have a P.O. box in the description below. Send us anything you want that is appropriate. PG channel here. And we're going to open everything in the P.O. box on the channel for a 50K celebration. That'll be super fun.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we got some cool stuff coming in, but what are we doing right now?
Right now, we're doing a Commander Tune-Up. That's where we take a deck submitted by you, the patron, or the backer of our Kickstarter, whatever, however you got a tune-up, and we upgrade it under your restrictions. The restrictions for this deck are as follows. $100. That's the amount of budget for ads that we have, and he wants to keep the aristocrats type theme. So he wants to be doing the sacrificing. He wants to be doing the creature type thing. So we got to keep that theme and keep it under $100.
Right. So the game plan of the deck is going to be to generate a ton of life gain triggers by playing and sacrifice creatures. And that might sound weird with a Belbay as commander, but it's not going to be the commander. We're upgrading a Belbay deck into a Dina deck. Dina would work much better as the commander, so that's who the commander actually is. Dina, of course, the black-green 1/3 with one sacrifice creature. She gets +X/+0 where X is its power, and whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. So let's talk about the best cards that were in the deck before we made any changes. These obviously stayed in because they're the best cards in the deck.
Yeah, the reason that we're going over these is to give you an idea of what this deck is doing and what the best way to play the deck. So obviously, amazing in this deck is all of our life gain drainers. That's our Blood Artist, our Zulaport Cutthroats, our Vindictive Vampires, and Bastion of Remembrance. All these cards are absolutely amazing for the deck because not only are they going to drain an opponent, they're also going to trigger Dina to do an extra drain.
Yeah, Dina doesn't want you to gain 10 life. She wants you to gain 1 life 10 times so that each opponent loses 10 instead of just 1. So you just really stack them up with these. These are going to be the main win cons. They're amazing. Also amazing, Midnight Reaper, Grim Horror Specs. Whenever your creatures die, you're now cashing in a card, so you can keep playing more creatures so they enter and gain life and die and gain life. And Dina's triggering the whole time. She's watching the whole thing. She's loving it. And Yawgmoth Transposition is a busted Magic card.
Yeah, this is Aristocrat, so the sack outlet that already draws on it, and the guys that pay off your things being sacked in the Midnight Reaper and Grim Horror Specs. Tons of card draw. Aristocrats. This is just Aristocrats. And speaking of that, Pitiless Plunderer, another great card for the deck. Every time our creatures die, we get a treasure token. 100% awesome.
Goes infinite with ham sandwiches. These are the best cards in the deck, but now we're going to talk about the cards we cut and the cards we added.
So the first thing for this life gain deck is, well, ways to gain life. The only one we cut that was a way to gain life is Cryptcast. It has Extort. It's decent for the deck, but this deck is very focused and very powerful, so we can just do much better. We want low-costing things that are going to gain us life, like Essence Warden and Prosperous Innkeeper. Essence Warden, whenever any creature enters, you gain a life, and Prosperous Innkeeper, when your creatures enter, you gain a life.
They both basically cost 1 mana, and they're both fantastic. You want to get as many of these stupid 1 triggers as possible to just smash everybody. There's going to be, if this was an arena deck, it would be unplayable because there'd be way too many clicks.
There'd be so many triggers.
It'd be the worst.
So many triggers going off non-stop. We also have Dross Harvester, which is an interesting card. 1 black for a power toughness that I do not care about. But at your end step, you lose 4 life, and whenever a creature you control dies, you gain 2 life.
Better, whenever any creature dies.
Whenever any creature, yeah, this card is really awesome. It gains so much life.
This card is like underrated. It doesn't see play anywhere except for like these Dina decks. And I think it's just a really good card if you need to gain life or you're wiping the board or whatever. It's got a Sangromancer type effect, but it counts you too.
Yeah, it gains a lot of life. Like this is a high amount of life gain, and it's 2 at a time. So these are individual triggers, which is great for Dina.
And Deathgreeter is the same thing, except it's 1 life. We'll take it. We don't care. It could be 0.1 life as long as we gain any amount of life to trigger Dina.
I don't know about 0.1 life.
It's still gaining life.
It is still gaining.
It's not trackable, but it's gaining life.
Yeah, I don't know if they allow that in Magic. Scavenging Ooze. This is a great graveyard hate piece. Gains life, gets big. It does a bunch of different things. Great card for the deck, obviously. Every green you put into it is going to gain your life.
Yeah, so we only had a $100 budget, and we spent 12 of it on Aetherflux Reservoir. Whenever you cast a spell, gain some amount of life, great. We can't fit the whole Aetherflux Reservoir, Sensei's Divining Top combo in. Sensei's Divining Top is $60. But this card by itself actually just works with Dina, and I was pretty excited to get to play it.
Yeah,
to get to put it in.
If you're going to add one card to this deck, Roswellien, that's off budget, it's top. You just end up with the top Aetherflux Reservoir and another card we added that everyone knows, Bolas' Citadel.
Yeah.
Combo in the deck when you do that. And the last card for life gain is off consumption. It's a bad card, but it's an MDFC again. We already told you. We've told you a million times. MDFCs are amazing.
You're going to be hearing so much more about MDFCs when these next couple big projects come out.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot of them. So we're gaining all that life, and now we got to pay it off. We cut nothing because there weren't any cards that were bad that paid off gaining life. So we also added Marauding Blight-Priest. Just playable enough, I think. It's just the same text as Dina, and there's like a 5-mana version, but I think that card is like definitely bad.
No, this deck is very much a focused deck. I think 3 is like the average CMC overall. We'll go over the little stats at the end, but you don't want 5-mana cards. There's like 5-ish, 6, and they're amazing.
Yeah.
And this card is fine.
It'll pull weight.
It'll pull weight because we're getting so many of those triggers. So having another Dina in the deck is going to feel good.
Yeah, and then we have Witchbane Coven. Every time we gain life, we can now bring a creature back. This is probably good for some infinite combos.
It definitely is. Pitiless Plunderer, Sack Outlet, Witchbane Coven, and one of the dice triggers. I mean, it's a critical mass combo. It's not like you're just doing it every single game, but you could definitely go infinite with Witchbane Coven.
And sometimes you'll just win. And we also have Witch of the Moors, which is like
oh my God.
nonsense value. Literally nonsensical value where you're just going to go, hey, you guys all sack something, I'll get my best thing back.
Every single end stop, you're going to get this. And it's the first turn it comes out, you can get the trigger. That's what makes this card so good. It is 5 mana, but the fact that you get this basically on the first turn is what makes it so good.
Yeah, you could just play it with Essence Ward now. You don't even need Dina or anything. Just boom, I gained a life. Now you guys are going to get wrecked.
Yeah, and as mentioned before, Bolas' Citadel in the deck. This is a life game payoff because it'll just let you go absolutely nuts off the top of your deck. Like we said, the average CMC of this deck is very low, so you can just go super, super crazy with Bolas' Citadel.
And even adding in a couple MDFCs just helps with that because they're lands, but you can still clear them off the top of your deck. I think this card's great. This deck wants to gain life, but just for Dina. We don't actually want to be at 1,000 life or 100 life. We don't care. So we'll just pay all of it into this Bolas Citadel and win.
Yeah.
How about the next one? Aristocrat stuff. What did we cut that was in the Aristocrat world?
I had to name it Aristocrat stuff because there wasn't enough to split it into like Aristocrat cards and payoffs, and I just couldn't. So it has to be one category called Aristocrat stuff. Gutter Bones was the first one cut. That card's not good for EDH. Just play Resembling Skeleton. It's like 10 times better.
Yeah.
If you're gonna play something in that slot, Resembling Skeleton's gonna be there.
But we're not even playing that card.
Yeah, and we're not because this deck is better than that. Plague Rush. Or what is that?
Plagued Rusalka?
Rusalka. Plagued Rusalka is a bad sack outlet. It costs mana to sack. We want free sack outlets in this deck. That's all there is to it.
In black, you don't need to go to. You don't have to pay mana to sack creatures. You just don't.
Yeah, Plum the Forbidden. Just not.
I don't have room. It's not. This deck's just like too focused for this card. I like Plum. I don't think it's a bad card, but I don't think we just don't want to do it.
This deck's just too good. This deck is 8, at least an 8 at minimum for power level.
Yeah, this is a good deck.
Creeping up toward 9. So with that, you're just not going to play a card like Plum. Same thing with Rush Rebirth. Also a fine card for Commander overall. Not interested in it for this deck.
Our creatures are also small. This deck has Vampiric Tutor and Demonic Tutor in it already. I don't like, what are we going to turn a 3-drop into a 2-drop? It just seems like it might be a little finicky.
Yeah, agreed. Intended Shoot Dryad is more of a tokens payoff.
Or a slower win condition. We don't need to. There's like Exquisite Blood infinite combos in this deck.
Yeah, you're right. You just don't need to go for this. This is going to make you a token every turn. And yeah, that's good for an Aristocrat deck. There are probably green Aristocrat deck at lower power levels that want this card. Not this deck. This deck is so focused and so good that it doesn't need something like a Intended Shoot Dryad.
It was already good, and we're making it even like 10 steps better. We're adding one of the best Aristocrats cards ever printed, or ever will be printed, Living Death. Sack all your team, fill the graveyard, get all the triggers, put Dina there too. Living Death, wipe their board. They might get back a few things, and we get back everything, and the game's honestly probably over.
I mean, this honestly, in green decks, Living Death has such an extra oomph because of Eternal Witness. You just get to loose with Eternal Witness, where it's like you can't ever lose. It's just like Sack Outlet, Eternal Witness, Living Death, Pitiless Plunderer. That's over. That's infinite. That's just, the game's over.
I mean, not only can you go infinite, it's just how many triggers are you going to get if you cast Living Death and there's an Essence Warden that's coming back? It counts there, guys, too.
Yeah, and not only just Essence Wardens, it's just there's also the Dice ones. Those two It's all just so strong.
It's going to be dozens of life gain triggers every single time. You're probably going to win if you even resolve this ever.
Yeah. Next ad was Blight Mound. This is awesome. These die to gain life, which is awesome. It's a second life for all of your creatures. It's an enchantment, which is a little harder to remove. I like to have the nice mix-up because even your really heavy creature decks, you're playing 30 to like 40 creatures. You got to have some insurance against those creature wraths because it could be rough.
I mean, we can look at, we have like a Zulaport Cutthroat and an Essence Warden and a Dina, and we have Blight Mound out. So we play a creature, gain a life. Sack it, gain a life. Turn into a pest, gain a life when it enters. Sack it, gain a life, gain a life. And now they just lost 6 life off one creature just because we have all these dummies in play. There's a redundant effects. We don't need exactly Essence Warden. We don't need exactly Dina. We just have like 17 versions of this. You're just going to lose whenever we make gain actions.
Yeah, exactly. Dina's very strong. Nether Traitor, this is just a great recurable threat. Also goes infinite with Pitiless Plunder.
It's a must-have card. It is so good. I think it's one of the best black cards.
Yeah, for an Aristocrat deck, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Another thing, kind of like Blight Mound, Pawn of Ulamog, these turn into little spawns that you sacrifice to make mana. Just, again, these are second lives. That's all we care about. We don't care that they're worthless and don't do that much. These can make mana if you need them to.
Sure.
And they sacrifice themselves, which is awesome for the deck. Doesn't matter. We just want our creatures to have second lives.
We want more creatures, more life gain, etc. Dictate of Erebos is going to function as sort of a board wipe effect. If we have anything at all, this is going to be a one-sided board wipe.
Yeah, I mean, we have them dying into these worthless, useless creatures. We have tons of worthless, useless creatures.
Nether Traitor.
We're sacrificing Nether Traitor, and they're sacrificing something that's actually useful.
Like a Grave Titan.
And then the most, expensive ad, not even remotely close to this deck. Liliana Dreadhorde General, and it's worth it. Yeah, it's 6 mana, and I'm willing to add this is a 6 mana card that is worth having in this deck. It's so good.
And it's $30. It was a third of the budget, and we're like, it's gonna be the new curve topper, like one of the best cards in the deck when you're sacking creatures. I think Liliana Dreadhorde General or like Midnight Reaper and those effects with Pitiless Plunder might just be game over if you have like 8 lands in play, because you can tap out for Liliana, maybe play something else, and now every time your creature dies, you're drawing a card, getting a mana back, and then triggering Dina a bunch of times. You're never going to run out of the resources. You're going to win.
Yeah, Liliana Dreadhorde General is an absolute house. I love, like we said, we did up the curve of this a little bit because it was, and we're going to go over stats at the end. But like, we put Liliana and Bolas Citadel, both 6-drops, both just absolutely game-controlling cards that are amazing every time you play them.
Yeah, you will dominate. And with Yawgmoth already in the deck, I'm so tempted to add this Liliana in. Not only is there synergy up the butt, but Yawgmoth and Liliana can sometimes just win you the game by themselves. If you, let's say you play Lily and plus it and you untap with it, it's not unreasonable to go Yawgmoth, discard, ultimate.
Yeah.
And win the game.
Yep. And then here for this last little category before we get to lands, just miscellaneous cuts. I just want to go over why we cut them and just probably pretty quick. Slaughter Pact, I don't think is a good enough removal spell for EDH. Not hitting non-black is just not good enough.
You really want Deadly Relic instead, but we can't afford it.
You want Deadly Relic instead, or you want Snuff Out, which is better. You just don't have to pay anything for Snuff Out except for life, which is way more than having to pay the upkeep cost of Slaughter Pact.
Yeah, and Scheming Symmetry, I don't think we're interested in group hugging when we're this powerful. I don't want to give away anything. I'm just going to tutor for my thing with Demonic Tutor and win the game.
Yeah, exactly. Our deck's too good.
It's too good for these petty cards.
For this good card that is good with synergy, but just medium overall. Heartless Act, also not a card I want to ever play. 1 mana or 2 mana, 1-for-1 destroy effects. I'm not interested in, and this doesn't even hit everything because if it has a counter, it doesn't kill it. No thanks.
Fecundity, I think, is at home in some decks, but not black decks that have Midnight Reaper, Yawgmoth, Liliana, and Grim Horsepex in them. We just don't need to go to some like group huggy type card where that can affect everybody. I don't want somebody to use this better than me. I don't even want somebody to use this at all.
Yeah, but this is not interesting. Fecondity's all right, just not this deck. Timeless Witness, we have Eternal Witness. We don't need an overcosted one. This is just too focused of a deck. Is Timeless Witness good? Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah.
It just, when we're this focused and we're this high of a power level, we're not interested in
Arcane Signet, we just don't need it. We're a green deck. We have plenty of mana dorks. There's like 6, I think 1 mana dorks in this deck.
Priest of Titania, just not good for this deck. We don't have enough elves, and on top of not having enough elves, we moved Belbay, who is an elf, into the deck, and put Dina, who is not an elf, into the command zone.
Right, so you're just not going to have that guaranteed 1 This needs to tap for at least 2 before you're pretty happy with it, and we can just cut it. Village Rites, not really. It's probably a card we're going to cut from most decks, honestly.
I'm going to cut it from every deck. I think that card is not good.
It's just, it ends up being a little too not what you want. If it was some creature, maybe if it was like a 0/0 creature that had the same text, then it'd be good. Just the fact that it's not a creature doesn't help you.
Yeah, Massacre Girl, this is a fine, okay border wipe in lower power levels. We
don't need it.
We just don't need it. This deck is so good.
Fast. This deck's fast. We barely even need to wipe the board at all.
Yeah, exactly. We're not going to be wiping the board much at all, and we definitely don't want to be playing a 5-mana creature border wipe. And what else? We just needed to make one more cut. And it's kind of the last cut. The cut's fine.
I mean, I'm just like, what are we ramping into? We top out at 6.
Yeah, but we also have mana dorks. We have plenty of ways to ramp. It's not like we don't have ways to ramp. What else just happens to not make the cut because our curve is so low?
Yeah, I mean, I could imagine any number of scenarios where this deck doesn't ramp at all ever and just crushes everybody. Real quick at the end, we're going to go over what lands we cut and add. Cherries?
It's really simple. 3 forests, 3 swamps out of the deck. And there was a field of them in this deck, but there was no snowlands. So in place of them, we just put 2 snow-covered forests, 2 snow-covered swamps, and a Turntimber Symbiosis we went over as off-consumption earlier. Couldn't afford to put Aghanim Awakening in because we wanted Lily.
Yeah, we wanted Lily. And this is we went down a land in total. I think that's totally fine because we're going to get to the stats at the end. Budget was $100. We spent $98.84. We pretty much, Roswellien, we got as close as we physically could to your cap. The original average mana value of the deck was 2.6. Like, whew, that's real fast. That's like blisteringly fast. And we upped it to 2.94, mostly with, honestly, Turntimber Symbiosis counts toward this. So it's actually lower than that because that's not a 7-drop.
Turntimber Symbiosis is off consumption. Right. Both 6 and a 7-drop don't actually count toward that, so you can actually count those as much lower. And then on top of that, the 2 win cons. We added the top end win cons of Liliana and Bolas' Citadel.
Right, exactly. And the total changes, 22. I think this deck was really good. We didn't need to make 45 changes. We didn't have to do some sweeping change log overhaul. This was just a really good deck, and now it's a really great deck. It might be from a 7 to a 9 or a 7 to an 8.
Yeah, this deck just had a few like head scratching cards where it's like I don't understand this or this, and, like a couple of them. But outside of those, this deck was very strong. It was focused and it was doing what it was supposed to.
Yeah, good job.
But that is our video. Special shout outs to all of our patrons, including Roswellien.
Woo.
Love you all as much as we can without making you uncomfortable. Thank you all for the support. You guys are awesome. Seriously, I do love every patron. You guys are so awesome.
Without making you uncomfortable. But we still love you, like, so much.
My nose is, like, super itchy right now. It's so annoying.
Joe's nose is super itchy. TCG Player link in the description. If you want to buy anti-itch cream through TCG Player, if it's there, you can buy it. Just start with the link and then navigate, buy the itching cream you know you're going to buy anyway, and then we get a kickback on the order when you check out.
I would just buy magic cards. They have magic cards.
They have those too. Probably itching cream and magic cards.
If they have itching cream, you can get some itching cream. Maybe buy some magic cards and help support the channel. That'd be great.
Yeah, if you want to send us dopey stuff for the 50K opening, feel free to send it to our P.O. box in the description. And we have Discord, which you can come into and hang out and play Commander with like-minded individuals who are all cool.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I cannot wait I can't wait for the opening is what I was going to say.
It's going to be sweet. Tidbit?
Tidbit. Is it my turn?
Definitely your turn.
No.
Yeah, because it was my turn last time and we had the easy one.
No, it was my turn last time.
Oh my God. I do have a tidbit. Something cool, actually, we've started to get in the works, and I'm sure it's actually almost in the finishing stages now, is we were approached by Jason Alt and the EDH Rec crew. So we're going to be writing articles for them. Well, we've already written most of them, but they're going to go up on the site, and it's going to have this sort of like overhaul redo of the pre-con upgrade section. And it's going to be amazing. There's going to be more Nitpicking Nerds content. Even more than we already have. You can read it. Yeah, we're going to tell you how to play the deck, and we're going to tell you how to upgrade the deck, and it's going to be really cool. Those will be without budget, so there'll be a lot of different, as opposed to like our usual videos that you see on the channel where we use a $50 budget. There's not going to be budget, so there's going to be some suggestions you won't see on the channel there. Right. We tell you, like, you'll see all the non-budget upgrades that we would add, and you see how to actually pilot the deck, like, what are your best cards? What are your worst cards? What are you trying to do? What are the best, like, do I play this card first or this card? It's like there's a bunch of actual advice for playing it, which we don't give. We tell you how to upgrade it.
Yes. So, yeah, that's it.
They'll be up soon. I mean, once they're up, we will not shut up about it. So just keep an eye on the channel.
Yep, sounds good. Peace out, Tribe Scout.